Hi, it's Jennifer at Home, and I'm so happy and so grateful you're here today. Today we're going to make the easiest ever bread. This bread is wonderful for beginners or for those of us who just don't enjoy fussy recipes. Let me show you what we need to put in it, and then we'll put it together and get it in the oven. It's just that easy. I have everything set out to make this super easy bread recipe. The big bowl I'll need to mix it in: 3 to 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt, 2 teaspoons of dry active yeast, and that just comes in a package like this. You can get it at the grocery store. And 1 package, which is a 1/4 ounce, equals about 2 teaspoons each. So that's the perfect amount in 1 package. And we'll also need 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, or you could use 2 teaspoons of honey. Let's get started and put this together, and you won't believe how easy it is. For this recipe, we're also going to need 1 1/3 cup of warm water, about 100 to 110 degrees, just so you can touch it and feel that it's warm and not too hot, because if it's too hot, it will kill your yeast. So the first thing we're going to do is put the water in the bowl, then we're going to add in our yeast. And I'll have the full recipe for you down below. Just going to mix this in, and then I'm going to add the 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. The yeast needs something to eat, so it's going to start working away with this sugar, and it's going to get frothy. The next thing we're going to do is add in our egg. And I'm just going to mix everything up with a fork. We're going to add in our salt. And just mix this up. Once you have that mixed really well, then it's time to add in our flour. We're going to add just a little bit at a time, not too much, about 1 cup at a time. And I have 3 cups in here. Once you put that in, just go ahead and mix it. If your yeast is nice and fresh, you don't have to let it sit and start getting frothy or anything ahead of time. If it's nice and fresh, with this recipe, you can go ahead and just start mixing everything together. Just add your flour gradually, a little bit at a time, and keep mixing it with a fork until you have all of the flour, the first 3 cups of flour, all mixed in. We're almost there, a little bit more. Okay, there we have it. 3 cups of flour in the bowl. Now this is going to make what's called a shaggy dough, and it's going to be a dough that you can see it has shaggy pieces and uneven pieces, little balls of flour. Just keep mixing that all in until you can't mix it anymore with the fork. And you can turn your bowl to get any of the flour off of the sides. This comes together so quickly in just a couple of minutes. Okay, there we have it. There's our shaggy dough. And you can see it's just a little bit sticky. I'm going to go ahead and let me set these bowls aside. There we go. Now I'm going to put a little bit more flour down on this surface. You can use parchment paper, you can use a cutting board, you can use a tray, anything you like. I'm just going to use this Silpat here because this stays right on the countertop and it doesn't slip all around. Now I'm just going to dump my flour out, or my dough, onto the flour. And you can see it's sticky. It's sticking to your fingers at this point. So I'm just going to put a little dough on top, and then I'm going to start kneading the dough. And this is a really easy process. It is not intimidating at all. So just put the flour on, then just take the dough and fold it toward you and just push it with the palm of your hand. Rotate it, push it some more, and you can keep adding flour at this point because it's still really sticky at this point. Turn it some more. I'm going to add a little more flour. So it ends up taking about 3.5 cups altogether. 3 in the recipe and about 1/2 cup or so in the kneading process. So just keep turning it, and then I'm just going to knead it with the palms of my hands, turning it each time for about 4 to 5 minutes. A little more flour if needed. Just spread that around, wipe the extra off, and just keep turning it and just pushing it down. And as we do this, you'll see the dough is getting really smooth, and it'll get a really nice elastic quality to it. The more we knead it, the smoother it gets. Okay, once you've kneaded the dough for about 4 to 5 minutes, you should have a really nice ball of dough. Now we're going to take the dough and put it right back in the original bowl. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour around on the inside, so there's no need to dirty extra dishes or bowls or anything like that. And I'm just going to set the ball of dough right in the big bowl. At this point, I'm just going to take a big cloth and put a big cloth over the bowl. I'm going to preheat my oven for 2 to 3 minutes and just let it warm up, and then I'm going to turn it off and set the bowl in the oven. I turned my oven on to 350 for just 2 to 3 minutes just to let it warm up, and now I'm going to turn my oven off. And it's just a slight bit warm inside. Now I'm going to put the big bowl inside the oven. I set the entire bowl in the oven, and now I'm going to close the oven door and let it sit for 1 hour. It has been an hour. Let's take the cover off and see what our bread looks like. Oh, so nice. It has doubled in size over the course of the last hour, just as we hoped it would. Now I'm just going to punch it down, which means just giving it a little push to let that excess air out. I have a 9x5 grease loaf pan that I've just buttered, and I'm going to take the bread and I'm just going to scoop it up right out of the bowl, and I'm just going to form it into the shape of a loaf. It doesn't have to be perfect or fancy. Just carefully lift it up out of there. Make sure you get all of it. And then I'm just going to form it in the shape of the pan, so in the shape of a loaf. Here we have it. I'm going to lay it right in the pan. Just like that. I'm going to spread it out just a little bit so that it fills up the shape of the pan. And now I'm going to cover it again with the same towel for about 20 more minutes. I'll just cover this for 20 to 30 minutes more until it doubles in size. I can definitely see our bread is rising in the loaf pan. I have my oven preheated to 350. Let's take the towel off and see what our bread looks like. Oh, it looks wonderful. It has doubled in size just as we were hoping it would. Now let's get it put in the oven and bake it for 25 to 30 minutes. We'll bake the bread until it is golden brown. It has been 30 minutes. Let's see how our bread's looking in the oven. Ooh, it's turning a nice golden brown. And here's our bread fresh from the oven. It smells amazing. Now it's time to cut the super easy beginner's bread. I let the bread cool a little bit before taking it out of the pan. Now let's slice it and see how it looks. You can hear now it has a really nice crispy shell. Look how nice and beautiful this bread turned out. And it was just that easy. The The recipe for this delicious bread is listed below, so that way you can go and get that recipe and easily make this bread yourselves in no time at all. I hope you give it a try and realize just how easy it is and how delicious. I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click the notification bell so you'll get a notification whenever I have a new video out. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and I'll see you next time.